The Narrator by Byron Broussard. Don't you remember those times when you were the villain? Don't you remember those times when you were the villain? The villain asked himself. I do, Brian answered. I don't mean to stop the momentum here, but there seems to be a pattern with the writing where I ask a question that I never know the answer to and then decide what the answer will be. This is sucky. Yes, the future you who decided to say that your own story was sucky. Oh no, Brian exclaimed. He had just learned that it was I, the narrator, that was putting a weird feeling around this plot. Plot like grave, but also not grave, but also grave as in serious, but not seriously in the dirt. I see now, the villain said. Yeah, I mean, what's your problem? Tangents. The villain did not know what he was also just a villain. The villain did not know that he was also just a villain to the narrator. Honestly, I think Brian, and Brandon should team up against me, Brian Omega. Wait, if you're the villain, then why can't you just... No, wait. We are all the villain. Where are you, Brandon? He asked out the tower window. I'm at Waffle House. Sound waves traveled and met the ear hole of Brian from the long distance of 7 whole minutes driving. I guess that makes sense if he's outside. Technically, if you're outside, you're also outside the tower window. Really, you shouldn't worry so much about how you can hear me, Brandon said reassuringly. Thanks. I was worried for a second that I would have to backwards improv my way into making that make sense. And from previous storylines, we can tell that that would be a mistake. Previous storylines? Brian asked himself. Fuck. I forget I was trying to escape an echo chamber. The villain was good. So good he looks back on this and laughs like a madman, lol. I'm getting up and walking to the door. I should be at the Waffle House by the next sentence or two, Brian said to himself out the window, hoping that the cool technology would somehow take his voice all the way down the length of a 7-minute drive to the outside of a Waffle House. In fact, we never really established how the first message got to Brandon. Was given nor received from such a long distance, and honestly, I don't think it sits right with me how this plot hole is so big that it outshines me saying the grass was blue earlier. Shit, I don't think... Shit, I didn't think I would make it, Brian said as he kicked Brandon in the shin. Ow, I forgive you. I knew that this would come to pass, Brandon answered in a high-pitched voice while crying. We gotta keep talking until we know the game plan.